Picture this. I just want to set the tone here.
Okay.
It's the summer of 1982. You don't have a care in the world, and you and your best friends are headed to the arcade. Welcome to the table, everybody. Thanks for joining us again as we share our thoughts, feelings, and sometimes heated opinions about movies that at least one of us has never seen before. As always, I'm joined by my two partners in crime, Dewis, a.k.a. Uncle Dew.
Hey there.
And Frage.
Howdy.
This episode marks a new theme for us. We're now discussing the ridiculous world of Adam Sandler. To start this series off, I'm bringing Adam Sandler's sixth highest grossing movie, Pixels. Like most of us born in the 80s, I was pumped for this movie when it came out simply because of the fun of seeing these classic video game characters again. Now, we always start our episodes off with our preconceived notions, including reasons why we haven't seen it before. And Frage, I think you have seen this movie before, right?
I did. I saw it in the theater. I don't think it was necessarily opening weekend, but I did go by myself, as I am wont to do. Sat there, matinee on a Tuesday or something when I think there was one other person in there, and we both had the best time of our life.
That's the best way to see a movie.
It's really the only way.
It's my favorite.
Spoiler alert for anybody that doesn't know us, we were all product of the movie theater. We met in a movie theater, and we were spoiled to have private screenings often, so we were all very used to watching movies by ourselves or only with other friends.
Watching the movie with general public.
So spoiled.
All right, dude.
And Uncle Dew, yeah.
You've never seen this
So
before?
I've never seen it, but before we get to that, I just want to crack open our official sponsor, Ham's Beer.
It's very much unofficial. That was a good double.
That was clean.
Spoiler alert, there were two of them. I don't know if you heard it.
He got two.
Utah.
Okay, so I had not seen this movie previously.
How is that possible?
Well, so I got burnt.
You're a kid of the 80s.
I am
you
a
love
kid of
video
the 80s.
You love video games.
I do like an
You like
occasional
Adam
video
Sandler?
game.
You might like video games more than both of us.
I am 50-50 on Adam Sandler. So, and I think that is what happens to me.
That's a really low number, by the way.
I'm like 80-20.
Same.
I am sincerely 50-50. Yeah.
That hurts.
So I've been burned over the last, 3 before Pixels, that just weren't good. And so I didn't want to continue to stroll down that, but I actually, yeah.
Was one of them Grown Ups 2?
Yes.
Was that right before this?
Yeah, Grown Ups 2.
Because I can understand that being a reason to not want to.
I know.
Was it the burp, fart, sneeze?
Yes, I know it's your favorite, but
I laugh
me.
every time.
I know you do. I absolutely know you do.
I can't help. It's just so dumb. Mm-hmm. That part, and when David Spade rolls down the hill in the tire.
The tire might be funnier than the burp, fart, sneeze. Like,
how dare you?
I think David Spade doing anything is funny.
So do I.
I don't really care what it is. He could just sit and talk,
one of my favorite is when he's like pantomiming something else. He's like, "Oh, I'm on the phone, beep boop, beep boop," and he makes a stupid noise for it.
Yeah,
gets me every.
David Spade
time.
is a special brand of funny.
Yeah.
That is underappreciated.
Because it's always like in such a way where like there's a little bit of smugness when he's doing it.
All smug.
Yeah, and so
he might have been peak Spade in Lost and Found. Have both of you seen Lost and Found?
Yes.
About the missing dog.
Yes.
Aw. He might have been what you're talking about with the phone with the beep boop beep. That is David Spade in that movie.
I feel like just to put a blanket disclaimer on these episodes, I feel like a lot of our discussions are going to be offshoots onto other characters that often work with Adam Sandler.
The thing is, Adam Sandler puts all of his best friends in all of his movies, so of course, we're gonna roll into the other people,
right? And I there's only so much meat on the Adam Sandler himself bone that it becomes the collaboration discussion, right?
Yeah, and he's kind of relied on that with the others, and also creating the Happy Madison brand. And he goes and produces. Right, he produces for all of his buddies. I mean, Bucky Larson, come on. So he just wants to have fun with his friends.
Okay, so wait, you got burned.
Yeah.
And
so I didn't want to do it again because up until Murder Mystery, I had not seen a new. No, I take that back. I saw the one where he's the diamond guy.
Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems. But that's a whole different Sandler that we're talking about.
Sure.
When it's Sandler comedy, the first one I've seen since.
And you said the first Murder Mystery, not Murder Mystery 2?
Grown Ups 2 has been Murder Mystery. And then, because we brought Pixels to the table, Pixels.
Yeah.
So there's like 8 or 9 in between that you've never seen, right?
No, absolutely.
That we all had to choose from, but we picked Pixels because it's fucking awesome.
Well,
Spoiler
most of the
alert.
ones in between there, I mean, there were a lot of Netflix ones.
Yeah.
So they just dropped right on there. And the Sandy Wexler and the Do-Over, all that. You
Hubie
love-
Halloween! Come
you
on!
like The Ridiculous Six, though, don't you?
No,
No,
I
that's
did not
me.
see
You
it.
like,
I like
Frage,
it.
Frage likes
I had not seen it. Yeah, like Grown Ups 2 really did me dirty.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I'm very glad that we did Pixels here.
I have a question.
Well-
Name one other actor that's done this very thing that has just turned you off completely to ever watching one of their movies again.
Jim Carrey.
I mean, I can't disagree with you. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I'll go. Will Smith?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a collective. Yeah. So
So,
I'm trying
and
to
it
think.
really, it's unfortunate because that movie that he won, unfortunately,
Warren
for
Beatty?
was really good.
He was
Warren
good.
Beatty was another one, very polarizing.
Yeah.
Like Dick Tracy did you in? That,
Yep. Absolutely. Did not see Bulworth. Did not see anything after that.
you
Yeah.
were at the perfect age for Dick Tracy.
I went and saw Dick Tracy at the drive-in.
I
was-
had all the action figures.
I was a Dick Tracy mark because of McDonald's.
I went. I saw Dick Tracy because Al Pacino was in it. We'll get back to him.
So keep it loose here, but with our preconceives here, I just wanted to say going into this movie again, I had seen this movie back when it was in theaters. I completely forgot that this was a Chris Columbus movie.
Well, right. And fun fact with Uncle Dude before we get
Do we have a
into
theme
it.
song for that yet?
In the works.
We need,
TBD.
Randy needs to get on the piano over there and just.
So we had all said, Netflix releases. This is his last theatrical release. This is Adam Sandler's last theatrical release.
Yeah.
So,
He did Hotel Transylvania 3. And then Uncut Gems, was
but I thought that streamed, didn't it? Before
Hotel
No,
Transylvania 3?
Yeah, I thought it was a part of Amazon.
Ooh, you
Uncut
might-
Gems
you might
was
have caught me
theatrical.
on that.
Yeah.
It might be.
No. Uncut Gem also streaming.
Well, it started
free.
on Amazon, but it had to run theatrical, otherwise
Right.
it wouldn't get nominated
Right.
for Oscars.
I don't know. It's interesting because
But I'm talking theatrical only.
Oh, I
and
got
then-
it. Got it.
Hotel Transylvania 3 did have a box office gross.
I
So,
actually had no idea there was even a number 3.
You may be
There's
right,
a
though.
fourth, I guess.
It was bad and... Oh, no, it was the fourth Hotel Transylvania that he didn't do the voice for, right?
Right.
Right. Oh, it was, bad. So-
Back to Chris Columbus.
Chris Columbus.
Chris Columbus, kind of an unsung hero in cinema history. When I think Chris Columbus, I think, you're in agreement here, we think Home Alone, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Home Alone being...
I do, too. Yeah.
That was like his... And was that his first directing job?
That was-
Or, no.
No, he did Adventures
Adventures
in
in Babysitting,
That was
right.
number one.
Right.
Right, which is one of my favorites, I should know that. But he wrote, like, every movie in the 80s.
Well, yeah, and everything that we absolutely love. Goonies, Gremlins, blew my mind when we were doing our little bit of digging. I went, I can't... How did I not remember that Chris Columbus, first Harry Potter...
Well, I thought I know he does that. That's
Right,
That's
no.
on the-
I knew he did Harry Potter, but I'd not known Gremlins and Goonies.
The only two Chris Columbus movies that I haven't seen, Heartbreak Hotel is one of them. I don't know if
Yeah.
either one of you
No.
have seen Heartbreak
No.
Hotel.
No.
And Bicentennial Man
I saw Bicentennial Man.
with Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I didn't see it.
Well, it's AI,
He burned
but,
you, huh?
but with Robin Williams.
So
Yeah.
but I mean, all of his other movies.
You know what we should do?
I like Chris
We should
Columbus.
pencil in a Robin Williams topic for later on down the road.
I'd love to.
Because I have not seen most of them because I hate them.
And I've really not seen a Robin Williams movie that I don't like.
Yeah, I'm in the same. Some of his later
Well-
ones. The
Hey, let's talk about.
We
this.
don't have to go down that road right now.
Yeah.
But Chris Columbus, I don't think of him when I think of this
Miss-
movie.
Mrs. Doubtfire as well, right?
No, I didn't either. It doesn't
Yeah.
actually feel like a Chris Columbus movie.
No.
Chris Columbus, he's kind of like John Hughes light,
Yeah.
where everything that he brings to the table is very light, fluffy, heartwarming. And this one didn't really have that. It felt more like a Sandler project than it did a Chris Columbus project.
It feels very Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
Now, I actually like Pixels, and I think it's the best of both of their worlds to me.
Sandler and Columbus.
Yes.
Okay.
It's
Now, what do you pick out of it as a Columbus world?
I'd like to hear this.
I think it was the finesse. We don't harp on
Well, he's a pro. Yeah.
right. It's the transitions. There was only a few things where it seemed a little laggy or joggy.
Laggy or Joggy?
Yeah. Or he didn't dwell on certain jokes as well. Adam Sandler's a very, hits it once, you laughed, he's going to hit you again with it, and hit you again with it, and hit you again with it, and then, oh, by the way, callback, hit you again with it, and nope, 8 times.
There was no burp, fart, sneeze in this movie.
No.
I like a running gag in a movie. I really do.
If done well, I do too.
If done well and smartly.
So you guys want to talk about some of the acting here? We could talk about the actors in it. Number one I want to talk about is Peter Dinklage.
Oh.
And I kind of forgot that he was in this movie. It was just, it didn't stand out to me. And then just a side note from the beginning of the movie, Dink is a great likeness.
Yeah, whoever they cast, and
all of the kids are fantastic.
All the kids really, really were.
The kid who played Josh Gad.
Oh, he was great, too.
The kid who played Josh Gad's little part,
I wanted to bring up, too, that they were talking about the love interests or chicks that they had a crush on. And one of them brought up Samantha Fox. That was a little early. Samantha Fox didn't really come up until 83, 84 when she had her first big singles.
Look at you being all continuity error.
She was linked to Paul Stanley, as maybe two of the three of us know.
But that wasn't until like 86, right?
Right, that was later on. But she wasn't really in pop culture at the time. So I was surprised that they brought up Samantha Fox.
That seems like a very Adam Sandler thing. He loves to, have these 80s references.
Yeah.
I've got notes here about the soundtrack, which I think is just a wonderful, wonderful thing. We talked about the soundtrack element during the Dazed and Confused, and much like you want to be dropped off in that movie and live in 1970 whatever it was, I don't even remember.
Any day.
I want to be dropped off in like 1988.
We'd all genuinely be in agreement that Sandler knows how to pick songs for his soundtracks.
I don't remember from Billy Madison, but as early as Happy Gilmore, I remember Carry On Wayward Son.
Yep.
He's pulling up to the golf course.
Yep.
It just feels good, and I mean the rest of the movie, it's a great soundtrack. Well, you start out with Tuesday's Gone, I get, but for me it was kicking into Carry On Wayward Son, and then the rest of it is great, and then all of his other movies, he's just got a rockin' soundtrack.
Yeah, this one opens with the Cheap Trick song, right? The Surrender, which isn't an 80s song, but it really gives you the feel, right?
And teenagers were definitely still listening to it. Yep.
Right. And let it be known that back when I had 2 vocal cords, I would sign up to do Tears for Fears karaoke any day of the week, a la Josh Gad.
Well, fun fact with Uncle Drew, he wasn't supposed to do that full interaction. That was completely ad lib.
Karaoke was ad lib?
Yeah, he was only supposed to talk to the band, and then that was the scene. But the fact that they went into the Tears for Fears song, completely Gad, and Chris Columbus to his
just roll tape, right?
Just kept going with it, which
that's
I think
unbelievable.
Which I think says something about Chris Columbus, because I don't ever see him as a guy when it comes to ad-lib like that. I see him more of a let's stick to this, but I think you kind of flow with who you're working with and what you work with.
That's interesting that you say that, because some of the other directors that Sandler works with give them free reign to just kind of go to town.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that later.
And Columbus really does seem like a pro. Like, let's rein it in. Like, we're not going to get too far off the highway.
Well, and that's part of the Columbus thing, right? Like, we get a little bit of Sandlerisms, right? We get a little bit of him being him, but we don't let him just have free reign with the movie either.
Yeah, which I think he needs a little bit, because otherwise, you get ridiculous Sandler. So we're talking about Josh Gad, and so I wanted to talk about the age gap, because as I was watching this again, I went back and looked up at the years that they were born. Sandler was 66, Kevin James was
66.
Yeah,
I thought Sandler was younger than that.
No, born in 66, Kevin James 65, Dink was 69, Josh Gad was 81. So he's playing,
I'm older than Josh Gad.
Yeah. Well, so you could have played Sandler's buddy in this movie.
Yeah.
So
I can't. My mind's blown right now.
I thought that was funny that he's playing one of their equals, at least in age, and he's way off base. He's like 12 to 16.
Well,
years
it could
younger.
be because he looks like he's 40, even though he's not.
True.
Let's see a little bit more about the acting side of things. Jen Aniston decided she didn't want to be a part of this, even though what, 8 months before that, they were in Just Go With It together.
Just Go With It's a great movie.
Yeah, and
Well, did she have a conflict?
conflict of scheduling.
It would have been weird though to have like Aniston and back to back.
All right,
no?
boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I agree. It would have been different.
Yeah,
Like you
but-
can go to the Drew Barrymore well once every 6, 7, 8 years.
Yeah.
But and then he's done it with Aniston.
I think because so many people love the Just Go With It, just the chemistry and whatnot, that they probably would take that all the way to the bank if they possibly could.
Yeah.
I get it. Like the Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers
Sure.
situation or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, these two are good. Let's just make all the movies with these two.
I hear a Rob Zombie comment somewhere in there, but yeah.
Well, it's different than having a troupe.
Yeah.
Rob Zombie has a troupe.
He has a troupe,
Much
yeah.
like
well, same thing. Wes Anderson.
Christopher Guest, right?
Yeah.
David O. Russell. Like all of these people have a troupe.
They do.
As opposed to an acting like Mathau,
Tarantino.
Mathau and Lemon
Yeah.
is a chemistry partnership where you can stick them in anything as a combo.
Sure.
And
There was definitely sarcasm in my comment. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of people that just shit all over Rob Zombie for having his wife in his
A
movie.
little bit more fun facts and whatnot. Matt Frewer.
who?
Matt Frewer.
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 We may all know
German?
him. We may all know him from being the schmuck dad from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh, sure, the schmuck. Sure.
But his widest known role would
Use your
be
words.
Real big.
Max Headroom.
Ah, yeah.
Oh, Max Headroom.
And so this actually, fun little fact, this is the first time we actually see Max Headroom computerized, because everything else prior to this was
Actually him.
right. It
with the
was
mask.
practical effects to make it look digitized.
And they did a good job. It did look digitized.
Yeah.
Max Headroom, you know, I guess this podcast takes place in the suburbs of Chicago, not unlike Wayne's World, but there was a famous or infamous incident where the Max Headroom, somebody pretending to be Max Headroom, like took over a terrorist attack on WGN television for
Yeah.
like 20 minutes or something.
Anytime there's like some sort of WGN, anniversary, they always talk about the time that the Headroom broadcasting interruption.
Right. So I got a fun fact with Uncle Frage. Randy, did you know that this happened? This thing where the Max Headroom character took over GN actually happened on your second birthday.
I had awareness of it, but I didn't know a lot of details.
Now you're 2,
Right.
which peek behind the curtain is actually your sister's birthday. You
Yeah.
share a birthday with your sister.
Hey, Gene.
So nobody in your house would have been watching the Max Headroom because you were at the hospital.
Hopefully not. Oh, I'm watching the news. Oh, fuck, I gotta get to the hospital.
Well,
So I just think that
they
was-
may have, because that's peak WGN planes, trains, and automobiles time is around
Yeah,
your birthday.
this would have been
Yeah.
late '87.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just
When
I thought that was
when
interesting.
I think
That is
that
interesting.
time frame and WGN, I think of planes, trains, and automobiles.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, Max Headroom, it was cool like that they, used that as like a deep fake. So, and I actually have a note about how cool all the deep fakes were.
Yeah.
I loved having all these, the Madonnas and the Hall & Oates and the.
So you bring up the Hall & Oates.
I love Hall & Oates.
I gotta say,
not as much as you.
So it was Logan Roy, Brian Cox, where they see the Hall & Oates video, and he says, "You heard Hall & Oates, you blew it." I laughed very hard.
Brian Cox is just a delight.
How much younger did he look in this thing?
Right.
It was
Well, it's
crazy.
weird because he isn't that young. I feel like he's one of those guys that's always looked like he's 50,
Yeah.
even when he was 20.
Right.
And when he's 80.
The same thing with it. You could dodge a wrench. You could dodge a hammer.
Rip Torn.
Rip Torn always looks like he's 60. Like,
Yeah.
So
I love that was. Yeah.
Brian Cox delivered one of my favorite quotes in this movie. There's that scene when Sandler first visits the White House, and they're in the Joint Chiefs cabinet meeting or whatever, and Sandler's being Sandler and being insultive to whoever's at the table, in particular the woman, calling her a snob or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And after Sandler gets dismissed, Cox fires off with something about those of us with long pants and government positions.
Oh, yeah, so funny. That's a great line.
Oh, God damn
Throughout
it.
the whole thing, I just kept waiting for Brian Cox just to shout, fuck off. I was waiting for it.
I like a Brian Cox fuck. I really do. It's about even for me between him and Brendan Gleeson.
Ooh.
Brendan Gleeson.
Both great guys, but so you bring it up. Which fuck off do you?
We'll
just say fuck because I don't know.
I'm a big fan of the movie Sexy Beast with Ben Kingsley.
I've never seen it.
That's crazy to me that you didn't see that.
Very not really anybody's top 10 of anything, but
Maybe Ben Kingsley.
well, right. But it's one of those watches that you're just like entertained throughout the whole thing, and the amount of swearing is just
It's
pure
jarring.
perfection.
It's jarring.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Gleason has a good fuck.
He has quite a few of them. Like, I think Goodman's in it as well.
Ooh,
and
all right.
so there's an interaction between them, and then one of them gives off a good fuck, and it was like, I like a good swear.
Unless we're doing a Kingsley topic and you're bringing it to the table, I'm going to watch it tonight.
I definitely think there's a difference, though. Like Cox is angry when he
Right.
fucks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Gleason, he's
softer.
more
Yeah.
salty, like a just an annoyed fuck.
Right.
Salty's a good term. Yeah.
There's not a lot of movies where you see him angry. It's always just him perturbed, and I think that's one of those.
It's a subtle difference, but
Right.
it's key.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, we really
Back
hit
to
the weeds.
Pixels.
What?
back to the Pixels. That's the next movie. I'm so sorry.
One more, just talking about acting here. Dan Aykroyd at the beginning of the movie.
Yup.
I of course had to roll my eyes when they're doing shots of the Crystal Head vodka.
Yeah.
It's like
Now
a
that's
shameless plug.
Does he own that?
Yeah.
He does.
Okay.
Yeah. Which I can't blame him. But Ryan Reynolds and The Rock, they're doing the same shit nowadays.
Yeah.
And why not? Hey, put my cool.
Where-
Crystal
I
Head-
also enjoy their fine spirits as well.
Well, I've never tried Ryan Reynolds, but I mean, the Rock's Terramana,
I mean,
very good product.
Let me know. I have Aviator Gin at the house.
Where do
Surprise
you stand on Dan Aykroyd as an actor, or because I feel like that particular group
So
is very polarizing.
he is my favorite OG SNL cast member, and he is also my favorite out of that class post SNL cast member.
All right, hot take well, maybe not, but I might agree with you.
Yeah.
Because first of all, I hate Chevy Chase.
Right.
Hate him really bad.
It's easy to do.
And Randy, you're a Bill Murray guy.
I love Bill Murray.
So I feel like that would be the same class that we're talking about
Yep.
here.
I like old Bill Murray, but I have noticed as of late is Bill Murray is getting in that same sort of easiness. He shows up for his paycheck and he just plays Bill Murray. He's doing the De Niro.
I wonder how much of that is just him saying, hey, I'm just Bill Murray. I want to be Bill Murray.
Sure.
If you're throwing me a project, you want me to do it, I'll do it. But I feel that's his just way. Like, I want to show up to this party or I'm going to crash this photo shoot.
Did you watch Quantumania?
I did not.
No,
yeah.
never heard of it.
You don't watch any of the Marvel. The last Marvel movie you saw was Iron Man.
Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2.
Whatever that was, 2009?
Yeah,
Eight,
yeah,
nine?
yeah.
I think it was 9.
So yeah, he's in that new one, and it was just like, why did we?
I think that Aykroyd has this ability to be a great dramatic actor. He's got a sarcasm, comedy style. Like, obviously, Conan's is the worst.
It's silly.
But
Yeah.
Some of our favorite him is mostly in his dramas, right? There's
Driving Miss Daisy, yeah.
There's My Girl.
What's the last?
Veda Sultanfuss.
There it is.
Mr. Sultanfuss.
I was waiting for it. Mr. Sultanfuss.
Mr. Sultanfuss.
And Jamie Lee Curtis, who, spoiler alert, My Girl 2 became a
Mrs.
Sultanfuss.
Sultanfuss. Yeah. The Sultanfeiss.
I don't think plurals work that way.
Oh no.
Plural fuss. So I have a huge amount of respect for Dan Aykroyd.
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
he's just so talented. Pretty much everything that he did. You were talking about the dramatic stuff, but even the comedy.
Yeah.
I love Trading Places. I don't know where you guys stand on that.
Yeah.
But Frasier, Blues Brothers, where do you stand?
I respect it. I think it's good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to watch it all the time.
Hot take. I don't like John Landis.
Oh, that is hot.
That's a
hot.
pretty hot take. Yeah,
That's hot.
I don't like him.
Anything he's ever done?
I think everybody else who's in it makes him a better director, but he's one of those run-of-the-mill insert director B over... Yeah, I don't like John Landis.
Wow.
Yeah?
That is a pretty hot take, and I never knew that.
Yeah? No?
I like Landis.
It's one of those things I can't stand watching him talk either.
Oh, he's a little full
That's
of
funny.
himself, but
Yeah.
he's, I guess, earned the right to be. I don't know. Probably not.
No.
But American Werewolf in London?
No.
Thriller?
I mean,
Thriller. Come on, Thriller.
the sum of it is good, but it's a same argument we have about other films, like, say, a Spielberg, where it's everybody else who makes up the parts that he gets the best out of.
I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, because if he's just not your flavor, any variety that he puts out, you're just not going to like the taste of.
Right.
And Wes Anderson is probably a pretty good example. Because, Frage, where do you stand on Wes Anderson?
Like completely hit or completely miss.
See, and I guess Wes is a little bit, his flavors change from time to time, but I'm really surprised about Landis, because he's kind of, I think he appeals to the masses.
But anyway, back to Pixels.
Yeah, back to Pixels. Yeah.
So, like, the plot of this movie is really fucking cool. The idea that, like, aliens have picked up this, time capsule and thought that it is a declaration of war and sent back the characters, it's creative.
Rand, was this Chris Columbus written, or was this Sandler?
No, this wasn't Chris Columbus written. I think that this might have been a Herlihy.
Okay.
Oh, as in the Herlihy boy from Saturday Night Live?
Yeah, one and the same, by Tim Herlihy. So
Let the boy give your grandmother a bath. So
this was Herlihy and Timothy Dowling.
Okay.
So
Dowling.
whoever Timothy Dowling is.
So both SNL guys.
Right. Tim Dowling is, he might have been the head writer on SNL at
Yeah.
some point.
Yeah.
So, all of Sandler's buddies again.
Right.
All of them.
They always get, shout outs and whatever, but the video game aspect
And this
is...
movie's too good, so it can't have Smigel in it whatsoever.
No, Smigel is in it.
He makes an appearance.
He's in the scene with
Yeah.
my guy Dan Patrick,
Yeah.
the sportscaster from
Yeah.
ESPN.
Yeah.
What? What?
Yeah, We know how much of a mark you are for him.
I love Dan
Keep going.
Patrick so
Keep
much.
going. Yeah. Mhm. You
What?
listen to him every day.
I sure do.
Yeah.
He's
Go
got-
ahead. Keep going.
No, Dan Patrick's been in like 16 or 17 Sandler movies. He's his buddy.
And I feel like Smigel was only in it because he probably just showed up to bring Sandler like a burrito or something. It was like, hey,
Hey,
can
I
be in
borrowed your
movie?"
golf clubs, bud.
That's a much more realistic. Hey, I just want to see how the movie's going. You want me in the movie? Okay, fine. Twist my arm.
I'm gonna make the day right. Okay.
Where do you guys stand on the business of arcades? Did you go to arcades as a kid?
I went to a few. When I was little, so I was born late '85. So by the early '90s, arcades were
Done?
Yeah, pretty much. They weren't all over the place, but I went up to one in Wisconsin when I was growing up a lot. It was an arcade / ice cream parlor, which made for a fun time.
Yeah.
So not a lot, and then when they kind of became cool again, and everybody started to do the one flat fee, pay your way.
Yeah.
$15 to get in. You could play as much as you want to.
Those are fun.
Went to a bunch of those, but I was born and raised in the era of they brought the arcade to us at home.
Yep.
You bring the arcade to yourself.
So a lot of my childhood, I remember a lot of the birthday parties were at our very own arcade here at Spring Hill
so
Mall.
fun.
Is that Aladdin's Castle?
Aladdin's Castle, correct? Yeah, it was a chain, but independently owned.
I went there a few
say,
times.
Is that a mall chain
Yeah,
thing? Like
it's,
Hot
so it's like a
Topic or-
McDonald's franchise,
Oh,
right?
got it.
So everybody owned their own and operated their own, but
But it was a brand.
it was a brand.
Got it. Yeah, I went there, but it wasn't like a destination. Like, let's get the buddies together on Friday night and
Right.
drop us off at the mall so we can go to Aladdin's Castle.
Well,
For me,
we're known fact we go to the movies.
it was either the movies or the roller rink
Yeah.
for me. I was a roller rink kid.
When it comes to like
I went on my first date to the roller rink, by the way.
arcade-esque things, is I fondly remember the arcade life was when we'd go camping like a bunch of vagabonds.
Yeah.
We'd go, and much better arcade experience because they had the jukes-a-box, and then they had they had the regular games that everybody knows and loves.
The jukes-a-box and the pizza pie.
Yeah, the jukes-a-box.
And the pixels.
I do remember Jellystone having a pretty banging arcade there.
I was always
The place I went camping had like a barn that had like 4 games in it. It wasn't a lot, but it was.
But still something.
I just did the Spider. That was
used
one
to
of my
cater to
favorites.
Spy.
Yeah,
That was a fun game.
Now, all these games were, if I'm not mistaken, they were all like Atari games, right?
Yeah, because it was or right at 82
Pre
and before.
Nintendo, yeah. Did you have an Atari, too?
I actually had a 2600. Most of the games that they played in Pixel were not games that were in my favorites. I was a Yar's Revenge kid on my 2600. Nobody knows what Yar's Revenge is.
I've heard of it, but I know if I
It's
saw a
a
picture
stupid
of it.
little mosquito that shoots at a force field trying to break down the force field.
Okay.
Almost like all the other games
Got
that
it.
were out there at
Right.
the time.
Yeah.
Well, like what's the one where the thing just spins around? Is it Asteroid?
Yeah.
That one is the worst. I hate that game. But I love Galaga. Galaga's like the grand high poobah of all
It's
games,
so good.
right?
Yeah. And it's still tough as shit to this day.
Absolutely. Pac-Man was one that was very popular. Do you remember the sit-down Pac-Man at Pizza Hut?
The Pizza
The
Hut.
tabletop
The
one?
tabletop,
Tabletop,
yes.
yeah.
I love
That's
those.
my childhood.
Yep.
A Pizza Hut with a book it certificate.
Why was it always the Pizza Huts that had those?
I don't know. It was
I don't
just,
remember. I don't know if I ever saw one
I
anywhere
don't.
else.
Yeah, I've never seen a tabletop outside of a Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
They want you
It
to
mu-
grab your slice and eat and
Maybe
play.
it was just a licensing deal.
Yeah.
Pizza and Pac-Man.
Because it worked, and that was really the only time I ever played Pac-Man until later on. We had a Pac-Man at the movie theater we worked at.
Yeah.
So I did play that. It was Miss Pac-Man. I don't know much of the
yeah.
difference, but I did play that once in a
It's a
while.
bow.
Right, that's the difference,
Yeah,
right.
and she's got a vagina.
Yeah. Allegedly. So,
A bow and a vagina.
so all of those games are really cool. I loved the Q*bert character. I played Q*bert all the time as a kid.
I've never played Q*bert.
Friend of ours had a Q*bert console, like a standing.
Who is that?
Just some girl that used to been in like grade school or whatever. Her dad was like some muckety muck, and they had a Q*bert thing.
So they had the actual game,
That
like
is so cool.
Yeah.
at their house.
I always thought, I was like, oh, this is a flex, Like even then,
Yeah.
like being that young, be like, I wish I could have a standing game machine when I'm an adult.
I don't remember
right.
if it was
I
the
still
Atari or
Yeah.
if they had a Q*bert on the NES. I don't know if they adapted it.
I think
but,
it was an NES situation.
because I definitely played Q*bert all the time, and I don't know why. It's not that great of a game.
Well, you had fun fact with Uncle Do, you had mentioned Pac-Man because Pac-Man is a big part of Pixels. They say, hey, this is the Pac-Man creator. He's going to drive with you, and he's like, Pac-Man, my boy, not the actual.
But he's in it somewhere, right?
Right in the beginning, where we talked about baby Sandler and baby James, where they're running into the arcade, the guy who's fixing the machine, that is the actual Pac-Man.
That's the
creator.
guy that created
Interesting.
Pac-Man.
Yeah. Another fun fact before we get into that. Well, we were talking about the music before. I wanted to talk about the score.
Let it rip.
Hank Jackman, the composer,
Never heard of him.
because he only makes video game scores. He did Wreck-It Ralph and Wreck-It Ralph Returns. That's all he's done.
Wreck-It Ralph is a fantastic
Right.
movie.
So he's the score guy around that and Pixels. So
Yeah, you were talking about just the concept of the movie of Pixels, and just how dumb and cool is it that they put a huge Pac-Man into our world, or a
Right.
huge Donkey
Centipede.
Kong
The
into our
centipede.
world. Huge
Right.
centipede. I mean, when we were kids, we probably I don't even know if we thought of this kind of shit, but how cool would it have been 8 years old thinking about it, like, what if there was a giant Pac-Man just chomping his way down my street?
I love that they put him in the Mini Coopers. That was so fun.
It was so fun.
Like, everything about this movie is fun.
Yeah.
And I started smiling from the opening notes of Surrender and did not stop until the end credits rolled.
it had a lot of nod to the game culture. I mean, we can see the Dinklage character have sort of similarities to the Billy Mitchell King of Kong. We were all big marks for the King of Kong documentary.
Yeah, that was really good.
And
that guy cheated, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so, apropos, he's very much like the Dink. So
Yeah, that's a fun thing, and I love the ridiculousness that Kevin James is the president. Like, how awesome is that?
I feel bad for Jane Krasinski, right?
Krakowski.
Krakowski.
Jane Krasinski is somebody else.
Jane Krasinski. Krakowski.
No, Krakowski.
Well, that's how memorable she was in this because she got like a scene and that's it.
Yeah, she's not good.
And
Even
so,
on 30 Rock, she was not good.
Right.
like,
She was
they
ancillary.
barely used her. They were like, okay, you're gonna play Kevin James' wife, Sia, like
But the first lady
right
of the United States.
They walk her in
Flawless.
and then that's it.
Yeah.
You don't see her at all anywhere else.
You don't.
I love that he's just like a bumbling idiot, you know? Which, are we coming off of, no, we're not.
I mean, he's kind of playing the Kevin James.
Well,
character.
Chris Columbus said he was inspired by a certain New Jersey governor.
Oh, Chris Christie!
Yeah.
Oh,
for the
my
Kevin
guy.
James as
I love Chris Christie.
Yeah, I'm a big Chris Christie fan myself, but I don't think Chris Christie is as bumbling as Kevin James is.
No. But
can see-
I definitely see the inspiration. right?
Sure.
That's kind of fun, though.
It is hilarious.
All right.
Everybody's hilarious.
So the only thing before we go into closing comments is I just wanted to mention the graphics. So
Yeah.
I thought the graphics were outstanding for 2015. I don't think that they could be done any better in 2023 than they were 8 years ago.
No,
I
absolutely.
thought they were fantastic.
100%. The fact that you felt like you were playing the video game.
Yeah.
The Donkey Kong and the Centipede in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Pac-Man was kind of whatever, because it felt a little more CGI.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like Donkey Kong, you were like, shit, I'm in it.
Yeah.
There's a flaming barrel coming right at me.
Flaming barrel. But I thought it was cool, like, when things would disintegrate or
Is that your nickname in high school?
Shit. When the aliens, would blast something and it would pixelate, and you get some stray pixels here.
Sure.
And there. I was all in. I thought those are the coolest graphics.
Like the ones that look like ice chunks or
Yes.
whatever, like the little individual bricks.
The pixels.
The pixels, right?
The bits.
The bits. There's a few bits.
8 of those bits. All right. So that was.
Fantastic.
I just wanted to talk about the graphics really
Yeah.
quick. So all right. So Frage had seen this once. You'd never seen it. So I guess we'll talk about.
I absolutely love this. I was very much surprised by this.
Okay.
So
You thought it was going to, in your preconceived, did you think it was going to be bad?
yeah, I was a mark for the stinking trailer, and I know you never watch the trailers, but I saw the trailer and I was like, this is going to be absolutely stupid because it's Adam Sandler again, and I had been
Right.
burned
Right.
previously, and so I was like, I don't want to see this. But I'm glad that you guys brought this to the table because I was like, okay, I actually like this. I may put it on in the
I was going to say, you would watch it again.
Right, like, so it's always on FX. It's always on FX movies. I'd put it on in the background.
Right, I was going to
as
ask
I'm-
you if it was
yeah.
on TBS or TNT. When Bird on a Wire's not on,
Right.
then you might watch it again.
Bird on a Wire on TBS.
So this is the first, I think we should mark this down. This
Yeah.
is the first one of any movie we've discussed where the person who had not seen it wants to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah. So my end check, my rating would be a 7.
A 7.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a good rating.
That is a good rating.
Frage?
Well, I went in thinking that, like, I remember having a really great time watching this movie. I had 100% the same reaction coming out of it. Much like you, Rand, I'm like 80-20 on Sandler.
Yeah.
I think that the 80% are, like, really great, and the 20% are in the toilet. And we'll get into a little bit more of that later on in further topics. But I friggin' love this movie. It makes me smile from front to back. I gave it 8.5. 8.5.
That's high.
That is a high one.
All right.
It's an absolute delight of a movie. I love it.
So 2015, I loved it. So watching it again, I was excited to go in, and I really liked it this time again. My rating, I'll start with my rating here. I did a 6.5, lower than both of you guys.
Okay.
But that's only because I noticed, kind of first act going into the second act, it kind of dipped a little bit.
Okay.
Where when it first started to get ridiculous, where you're aware of the alien presence.
Sure.
I felt like it almost was trying to be serious a little bit.
Yeah.
It was a little Close Encounters of the
Yeah.
Third Kind where the people were disappearing.
Yeah, and it was more of like almost a dramedy for a second, and then it got funny again. So
Yeah.
only for that reason alone is 6.5.
I didn't mind it, though. You got the Indian guy and the selfie and the Taj Mahal blowing up.
I loved it. I thought that was funny. Yeah.
Like, I assume that's the section you're talking about.
It
right?
is. Yeah, there were funny parts in there, but I just kind of felt, and I know they needed to get from A to B.
Right.
So I felt like it could have been a bit more seamless. And
That's fair.
It wasn't. Yeah.
That's fair. But I still didn't stop smiling the whole time.
So
No, I was
law
smiling
of
too.
averages here, because of your 6.5, we're at about 7.5 together
As a trio.
as
Yeah.
a trio. So that's
Meaning
pretty high.
We all like this movie.
Yeah.
And we all want to watch it again.
And so I guess, we'll just send a comment out to our listeners here and say, everybody out there listening, let us know what you think on our
Yeah.
socials. We've got a Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok.
We're on the
YouTube.
TikTok.
Yeah, make
So-
sure, in particular on the YouTube, if you could like and subscribe.
Sure.
And then write us a comment on there about how stupid we are, or how much you agree with us, or how much you think we're
Or
ridiculous.
topics that you maybe want us to
Give us some topics.
Yeah, throw a movie at us for our table.
Yeah,
absolutely.
that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah. So
Yeah, be great. So, all right. Well, hey, Frage, thank you guys for watching this one again and for the first time.
Yeah.
And it was fun. And everybody that's listening, thank you for listening in again. And
nighty
we'll
night.
see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.